Donny, how are you?
Very good, thank you.
Fantastic. So you just played Aveiro yesterday. Right.
Yes, and I'm playing Lisbon tonight. This is my 20th show of 21.
Oh, not 20th time in Lisbon.
No, my second time in Lisbon, yeah. So it's I'm just seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. I'm like someone that's been trapped in a cave for 20 days, and I can just see that little bit coming out. So
that's what touring. That's what the touring is like then.
It can be sometimes. Usually, it's it starts off like it's really exciting and fun, and you're like, wow, I'm somewhere exotic, and then you do like a nice couple. You do like 5 shows, and you feel really good, and there's like people like it, and you're like, great. And then you have a little break and you relax. You go, this is easy, and then you do a big stint in the middle, and then you're like, oh, and then you have like, sometimes not for everyone, but you might have like a hard travel day or something. Like for me, I had to make a 90-minute trip that took 16 and a half hours. So that day I was like, wow. And then the next day I thought, that's okay, I can handle that. At least it's over. And the next day it took me 8.5 hours to do something for 3 hours. So I was like, no. So it can sometimes, you get like very drained. But for me, this tour, all of the shows have been amazing. Like they've been really well attended, like really great reception. People know the music, so that's kept me going. If I did a few shows where there was like 10 people, I just sort of went, oh, I'm ready to go.
Sure.
But it's been like,
it happens sometimes, doesn't it?
It's sometimes, yeah. Sometimes, usually hit a point. For me, this tour, I was very. Not concerned, but intrigued about what would happen when I went to Moscow. Just because you're on. I know there's Portuguese time, but there's Russian time as well, which is kind of just like
I'm pretty sure they have time over in Russia.
From my impression of it is just like you have no idea, and you kind of it's been hidden from you what's happening. So I thought I would crack then, but surprisingly I was fine. So
that's the feeling in Russia then. So something has happened and I'm not aware, and I haven't been told, and they would rather that I don't know.
Probably, yeah. I mean, I was kept in the dark, but look, it was fine. I didn't know what to expect. I was really disappointed because that Red Square was closed. There was a military concert, so I was at the gates going, I really want to go have a look. So, yeah.
Hey, there's always next time.
Maybe.
Maybe there is.
I think lots of people go to Russia once.
Yes, exactly. No, even Russia sometimes it only exists once.
Russia goes. No. To be fair though, the festival was really fun. People were great. So it was like, I'd be intrigued to go back again. And see more of it this time.
I have nothing against Russian people. I've only met one person from Russia, and they've been fine. And not fine. I mean, not fine, but excellent actually.
Yes.
So there you go.
Healthy body, healthy mind. Being a physical overtime. Rewarding ourselves romantically. It's the best activity. Work it now.
You go like, I feel like I have tunnel vision, and people will go like, you should go to the doctor. No, it's just the effects of touring.
Well, sometimes with touring, you can always tell. If you see a band, like I've met other bands that have been. I remember I met a band, some good friends of mine in New York, and they were, I think 15 shows or 20 shows in, and I just was in town that night and I met up with them and they were like, Donny! I was so happy to have a new face. And so you can usually tell, you'll see a band and you can tell they're on tour. And it's always one really challenging thing I find when all touring, especially when you're doing a concentrated amount like I've been, is that you'll get a promoter for them, it's the first time they've seen you. So you're going to their venue and they're so excited to have you. But then on the flip side, it's the 15th show you've done in a row, and you're like, so they're like, hey, Donny, how are you? And you're like, I'm great. So you really have to perk up. And then they're like, so last night I played it, and the night before in where was it? Not Madrid, somewhere. I forget now, and this is how bad your memory gets.
Sure.
And these two guys were like, Donny, you gonna come out and party and have a drink? I'm like, I wish I could, but I can't. I have to be up at 7 o'clock tomorrow to drive 7 hours, and so it's the bit of that.
So you're driving?
I've done planes, trains, and automobiles this trip.
Okay.
Yeah, I've done everything. So when I landed in Spain,
Another John Hughes movies.
exactly, yes. No, I landed in Spain. I've been driving around Spain.
I think that's accurate. I
think so.
I'm not a walking encyclopedia. Sometimes I am.
I'll take your word for it.
So, yeah.
But no, I've been.
I'll take my own word for it. Sure.
No, I've been driving around in Spain and in Portugal in my little car, and it's good. It's fun. It's much. It's actually less stressful than catching trains and planes. I find. Even today, I was stuck in rush hour, and I was like, it's okay. I'll be there soon. The map says 5 minutes. Relax. So
yeah, because it's Friday in Lisbon. So Friday afternoon in Lisbon, you're going to catch some traffic. I think it's like that with all major cities. I think.
Of course, but that's just part and parcel of it all. But it's good. Like the easiest thing of this tour has been doing the shows, like getting up on stage. For me, that's like the last night when I played. I was halfway through the set. And I looked over and went, I am. It's like, it's gone so quick. It's fun. So that's with any touring, that's always the thing you look forward to, is doing the actual show that night. So.
I know you're gonna win. Let's rock out. Come on.
You're playing by yourself, so
Playing solo, yes.
Solo.
Yeah, so I started off doing my shows solo. I compose, perform, and record all the music, and then I use backing tracks, and I have a Moog synthesizer I use live and sing. So it's kind of, it's my version of like.
Which of the Moogs is it?
It's just a little fatty. It's actually been breaking down the whole trip. So Moog, I need a new one.
Get on it, Moog.
So for me, that's like my version of a little old Italian karaoke disco man entertainer. And then usually in Australia, the last 3 or 4 years, I've been performing with a live band, which is made up of comprises of my brothers and a few other guys. So
really?
it's really, really fun. And
are they all trained as you were like into? Okay.
Yeah. So and
fantastic.
we'll be coming over. I'll be coming back in November with my brother, the saxophonist.
Oh, really?
And then
do they catch fire at any point?
No, unfortunately.
They catch on fire. I hope they don't catch on fire.
No. But and then next year we've been invited back to some really nice festivals in summer, so we'll bring the whole band and the whole thing. So it's going to be really fun.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Are you playing bass over here?
When I play in the band, I play bass. Yeah. So my main bread and butter is a bass player, and but I do all the other stuff as well. But I enjoy it.
You're a fantastic bass player, I should say.
Oh, thank you. That's very kind.
Fantastic, and a fantastic keyboard player.
It's very kind.
No, you're welcome.
Keep it going.
Everything is fantastic. No, actually, extremely talented. Like the first things that you can tell when listening to your listening and watching your stuff. So listening is that first off the composition is fantastic, and especially. There's a tendency. This is me being a music critic, which happens barely ever. But because we only invite people on the show that we love, the artists we love. So we only have on. It's already a curatorship. So if it's on the show, we love it already. So yes, you are pretty. Yes, you are very much so, sir.
I'm new to much of designing clothes and cologne. It just makes it harder to take this party home.
Musically, like there's a tendency at the end for you to change keys, I believe, and solo amazingly. So and also bass-wise, it's very flowy. It's flows very well, and that's not very easy to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's Well,
you must be good at it. That's what I mean. I mean musically good.
I'm a trained musician. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. You can tell. That's what I mean.
Yeah. No. I've got my masters in music, so I'm really serious. No.
Tourists.
I try to.
They have sieged the city. Yes,
this beautiful city. Yeah. No. I mean, I try to with the bass stuff. Like I try and take a lot of care, obviously, and I have a lot of influences on bass and production wise. So for this particular recording, I did use a particular instrument that. A particular bass that Bernard Edwards from Chic uses, and also. It's the guy that played in Michael Jackson, Lewis Johnson. So.
Oh, okay, yeah.
so that really influenced how I was writing. And then even this trip, I've been listening to quite a lot of music to start writing for the next stuff. And it's really funny because I have a list of probably 5-6 pages already of notes, and it comprises of don't do this, don't do that. This sound is being used. This is what's so. And I met up with a really great friend of mine who mixed my record, and I think we're going to be working on the next one together. And he does quite a lot of producing and recording and all that. And I was talking to him about that. I was like, my list of what not to do is longer than my influences. And he's like, yeah,
for sure.
And he's like,
I do that on this show as well. Like, I sometimes watch interviews to know what not to ask.
Yeah, well, and it's funny because it's like, certain things like he's saying was, if you've already heard it, it's bolted from the gate. It's like if you hear it, it's old already.
Yeah,
so
true. But you can also reset it.
You can reset it. But he's talking more like in like the last, like he said, for we're talking about like
creating sounds, really.
Yeah, like the wobbly keyboard, wobbly indie keyboard at the moment. Like that's gone. He's like, you can't. He's like, Donny, you can't use phases. They're out.
Yeah.
So there's all these,
especially in Australia.
Yeah. Well, and there's like he was saying
the psych wave of Australia.
Well, that's what he's like, Tame Impala and phases, so nobody else can use them.
I've had Tame Impala on the show, and we talked phasers.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yes. See, point made. Yeah.
Getting too much talent in the team. 'Cause what you got, it's too deep for the scene. You're too good for the game of love. You're too good for the game of love.
For me, as a bass player, the whole like kind of, I was thinking of this today, the whole like chilled, groovy, like, and it's it's like a Fender Precision bass or even a jazz bass. That kind of like real like chill sound. I'm like, can't use that. It's just filthy now. It's just like
sure.
So there's like really nice ways of using instruments. I like to use I used to like to use a particular bass for a thing, but a different influence. But now I'm like, I just have to steer away from that.
But, however, there's still always staples, right? For instance, Prophet 5 is always something.
Prophet 5 is like Prophet 5.
It's so fantastic, isn't it?
It's just like it's blank canvas. Like you can make anything. I mean, look at the Sakamoto sounds. It's
absolutely.
Basses and guitars are hard because they're so like recognizable.
The Japan sounds as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Peter Gabriel, I think, uses it as well.
Like you pick a DX7 and it sounds like a DX7. So
yeah, sure.
But I've got a few little
Japanese steel.
Yeah. And that's right. There you go. The most important instrument is the crafted of Japanese steel, the Yamaha DX7.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got a few little tricks up my sleeve, a few instruments that people aren't using. I'm like, cool, okay, I'm going to use these again. But so that's like for me, you think about that, and it was really great to speak to my producer friend who's in the same boat, like, stay away from this, like, even though it's tempting and easy to do that. And it's funny because there's so many bands in Australia. And what was he saying? The new thing is slowed down Tame Impala.
Okay, sure.
So he's like, slow down Tame Impala is in now. He's like, it's just, And he, as a producer, he'll see it all the time. Kids will come in with their demos and he's just like, yeah, you could do that, but it's already done. Yeah. So, and even
people are listening to Tame Impala, but now are taking more Xanax. So,
and even things. I did some DJing a few years ago, which was really great. I never did it, and it just helped me pick tempos and pick songs I like and watch how the audience react to it or something. But a friend of mine who got me into it's a really, really great DJ. He's really into boogie and funk and disco, and he'd say like, Donny, what about a song like this? I'm like, problem is, it's just there's a snippet of it that's good, so the actual song stinks.
Yeah, sure.
So the bass line's good, and then it already exists. So it's like, I just have to. As tempting as it like. I have so many tracks that I've got a few particular pieces of I've got an LM1 drum machine. I have like a Jupiter 6, and I'd link them all up, and it would sound like Giorgio Moroder straight away. I'm like, wow, that's so fun. I'm like, yeah, but already
Moroder,
exactly, yeah. And then and then 6 months later, I hear a recording coming out of someone that's trying to sound like Giorgio Moroder. I'm like, there you go. It's like nobody's listened to that. Yeah. So it's like really, there's a lot. I like
there's a lot of that in French touch actually, like trying to sound like Giorgio Moroder, but then barely. But then almost not sounding like I guess pretty much again resetting the sounds in another context.
No, and if you reappropriate them, it's great, and I'm all for that. an interview recently where someone said something like about soul music. I'm like, oh, personally, I just don't see any point in recreating that because there's so much great recording. And the interview was like, it's like, but you write 80s music. I'm like, well, yeah,
No,
but I was like, I don't really.
No, you don't really.
And I was like, it's not like I can. It's easy to write 80s music. It's like
But you don't write 80s music.
No. I use instruments used from then and try and put in different things. So it's like, and that's fine. Like, and I was trying to say
That person missed the point, I think.
no, and I was trying to say to him, I'm like, you can take, like, you can be influenced by it and you can, like, suggest it, but the point of, like, ripping, I forget the band, but it was just one of those bands that, like, a tribute band. I'm like, it's like, why would I listen to that? Like, this already exists. It's like, so...
Or bands that sound like other bands.
Yeah, and so I think for me, like, it's the challenge of, like, I mean, I don't know many, in Australia at least, I don't know many bald kind of dudes like me getting on stage and really giving a lot of love and playing the kind of music I do. So I'm not saying I'm reinventing the wheel, but it's like, you know, definitely I wasn't taking it from anyone. So it's like...
For sure.
And I think that's it's probably a strength in somewhere like Australia because it's such a small place. And it's like, oh, there's like... And there's guys like Kieran J. Callanan, Jack Clatter, Alex Cameron. It's like...
Alex has been on the show as well.
Of course, yeah. And like, we're all...
Kieran hasn't been here yet.
No. Kieran will go great. And it's there's like, it's great because there's such little niches. And I think that's what I really, for me, Australian and New Zealand music, like Con and Moccasin. Australia and New Zealand have this really fantastic thing where we're so isolated that we kind of work out this weird way of doing things. So we have, it's like when you take like, it's really cool when you take like, for instance, like Australian guitars that were made in the 60s. You couldn't get like Fenders and all the American stuff. They're really weird and they sound really weird as well. And I remember reading something.
Not necessarily good, but with character.
Well, I remember reading something just recently about the UK as well, saying in the 60s they had the import tariffs on American goods. So it was so expensive to get American musical equipment in.
I just saw a YouTube video last night.
And that's why, you know, I was saying, you know, we had all these weird guitars, we had German guitars, Italian guitars, and that's why the 60s kind of Brit sound had that sound, was largely due with these instruments. It's like we just kind of made our version of American music with these weird things and it ended up sounding like, so like, but then I think when you take Australia and New Zealand, it's like you get this really weird stuff, so it's like, that's exciting for me. So like all the guys I mentioned, you know, Alex, Kieran, Jack Latter, and Conan, it's just like, I think they're really interesting, have a really interesting approach, and it's like,
absolutely.
Like, they don't sound like anyone, and that's really cool. It's like, you know, I mean, and it's great. Like, there's a million bands that sound like other bands. It's like,
or a vibe, or bands without songs. Sometimes you can be referential, but if you have your own songs, then it's valid.
There's a few guys I know that they'll write like a really good idea, but it's an idea, and it's like, for me, that's not enough. It's like,
I'm just tired of bands that are vibes.
Yeah. No, I think
with no songs.
Well, I've been finding in Europe, for me, my songs particularly, like 2 or 3 of them have really been like catching on, and I'm just like, what the hell is happening? Like, I had all these people singing last night along to all the songs. I'm like, I'm in friggin' Oviedo. I'm like, what? How did I hear this? Like, what's happening? So.
Sophisticated lover. I like a lover. Sophisticated lover. I like a lover.
Alex writes fantastic songs, and Jack Latter writes, you know, Tim writes amazing songs. So it's all about, I think, you know, it's about getting the song out, and that's the strongest thing. So it's like, it's good to know that still carries some weight as well. Because like the IDs come and go, the ID bands come and go, and it's like, I'm not giving shit to other bands, but it's just like, for me, it's like, I want to...
You do you, like...
Yeah. And this is cool. Like, you know, at the end of the day, for me, I remember seeing Mac DeMarco play years ago, and I didn't really know Mac's music that much. I was like, oh, it's just some little punk Bart Simpson. And Kieran J. Callan and... Kieran did the support at the Sydney, and I was playing Kieran's band, and I was watching Mac play, and I was like, man, you know what? Like, there's 4 guys up on stage playing guitars, and there's freaking 2,000 kids singing along, getting off on 4 people playing guitars. I'm like, that's awesome. Yeah. And I started, and you know, I've become friends with Mac, and like, he's a pretty heavy guy. It's like, he's a pretty cool dude. Pretty cool dude. So he likes some he likes some pretty stinky music, so it's really good for me. I'm really into that. And so, you know, it's like a nice...
Stinky then.
Yeah, stinky's good.
Stinky's good.
Like, you know, like that cheese, you're like, oh, but, you know...
for sure.
That's like, just because it's got that doesn't mean it's bad.
No. Even
Most
just
people-
today I had goat cheese and I was like, this is rather stinky. There you go.
Yeah.
But it was like, I'm very much enjoying this.
No, so that's the vibe, I think, yeah.
Character.
Yeah.
Stinky character.
Yeah.
Best to be stinky with character than bland with no character.
Exactly. Yeah.
Cheddar, American cheese.
Yeah.
Which has its perks as well.
It's good when it melts, that's about it.
Yeah, it's pretty much.
If all these things go right, I hope you do it right tonight. I'll be classy, just you see. When you see you want me. Sophisticated lover. I like a mother. I'm just the sophisticated lover. I like a mother.
Just out of continuation of what we were saying, even last night I saw a video of this guy saying who was talking about this. We'll talk afterwards. This isn't relevant. Let's move on to other things. Of course. So, but there was like these treble boosts for English imports for amplifiers because they couldn't get the voltage is so they had treble boosters, which is something that nowadays you go like, why would I want that? But back then they were like, they have these muffled bassy amps that went like, and they needed some treble boost. So there you go. So I was curious, and
that's the thing we're talking about.
Ties into what you were saying, and now this goes in because I edit the least out possible. So.
Konnichiwa. If you'd like to sing along, please do. It's one word, and it's a beautiful word. Here we go. Konnichiwa, my love. Konnichiwa, I love you.
So with the Don, is that something you've been sleeping on for a while? Is that something that the name has been? Because it's kind of not natural. It comes naturally, I think.
No,
with your Italian heritage.
I think it was something I wanted to call it. I think it's pretty cool.
Your friends call you the Don as well.
Yeah, everyone. Unfortunately,
the Don.
It just felt right, and for me, it was like it's my fourth album, and like I do okay in Australia, not like comfortable, you know. I might be able to pay myself now and again sometimes, but for me, this album was kind of like all in, like kind of like musically. Like I spent a bit of money getting it mixed properly. Spent some nice money on clips and shots, and like I was just like, this is it, you know. I'm not becoming an old man, but I'm getting older, and it's like, I really like this. I believe in this album, and so I think kind of the name. I was like, fuck it, like I've come this far. I'm going to call it the Don. And so, I don't know. For me, I really like it. It's it's like a
confidence is good.
Yeah, I think so. No, and that's part of like. It's funny what anyone does when they get up on stage. It's like you've got to, whether it's manufactured or not, you've got to exude confidence. And it's like, for me, the confidence is
it's already there though.
Well, yeah. Well, it's actually has to come in. You do have to have it because and I've learnt this tour as well. I think it's been, as I was telling you before, this tour has been 21 shows over 24 days. So when I was thinking, just before I was leaving, I was like, I'm going to really find out how much I believe in the songs and the music I make, because I'm going to be playing it every night after traveling like 6 hours every day. It's like, you know, I'm going to be living, breathing, sleeping, eating this whole thing. I'm still enjoying it. So and I even if I like, it's a really hard thing to like listen to your own album. All my other albums, I just can't do it. Even if I watch, even watching clips, I check it once, and if the director I'll say to the director, "You happy?" Of course, I enjoy it. If something sticks out, I'll mention, but that's never really been the case. And so it's like, whereas this album, I kind of listen to it over and over. Like I just to see where I can improve or what I like or what I don't like about it, and it's still going. So that's for me, that's really good.
That's really good, and it's unusual because sometimes you're done with your own music, really, because you've listened to it so many times already and played it, had to rehearse it. And stuff like
they're just, for me, they're fun. They're fun songs to play. Even playing bass, they're really fun. But even just doing solo, they've actually been really fun as well. So it's like, and I haven't done any solo shows for quite a long time. So this tour was the first time in a while that I jumped on stage by myself again. And it does take a lot. Like it takes something to get up and do that. Like if I stand back and look at what's happening, I'm like, man, it's, all of us that do all this stuff, like it takes a bit to get up there and really sell it to people.
this confidence where you get the new motivational twist from? 'Cause it's pretty much prevalent, isn't it?
I think it's just it's an attitude. It's like, if you portray that attitude, if you portray that attitude and then confidence, I think it's, I don't know. I mean, I'm a pretty. I don't take myself too seriously, as you can tell.
Yes. Neither do we.
But at the same, I'm deadly serious about not being serious. So it's that kind of vibe, I think.
Same as us. This has actually been more serious than usually we've. Not usually, because we're not necessarily been serious. We've said our quips here and there. Yeah. But while we're speaking, I'm also concerned about the lighting. Yeah. So if this gets too dark, we might have to do a part 2. Okay. So we'll try to squeeze this in. Yeah.
You want to reach the top. I want you and ascend. New York City was the place to begin. California dreams. Malibu Beach will soon be your home. TV, radio.
Is this also like a travel record, or a let's go travel record versus let's say on the couch and just log on record?
I guess
so. For instance, Rome, a night in Rome, Santorini, Konnichiwa being in Japan. Yeah. So and Live Online. So
I guess so. I mean, I wrote this album over quite a while, and during that time I had been traveling. One of the things I did, I was traveling through Italy quite a lot on trains. Oh, and so
I've done that as well. I lived there. I lived in Rome, so I did that a lot.
And so long train rides, and I was listening to lots of music and like what's good when you're traveling. And so for me, that's like, and I do most of my listening when I'm traveling anyway. So it's like I wanted something that would kind of keep you, I don't know, have that.
Jet setty, I guess, or jet laggy.
And I had, there was a few references of songs that I used, and I kind of like the idea of, I mean, like a lot of them just write themselves. Like Konnichiwa wrote itself. Love Online was kind of a whole bunch of my friends were hitting their 30s and hitting Tinder, and I just thought it was pretty funny. I thought it was pretty sad.
It doesn't work for me at all.
The song's not promoting it; it's actually really taking the piss out of it.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
And so a lot of my friends were like,
you don't get online anymore, really.
It's kind of like Facebook. That's the funny thing. Yeah. It's like, it's only the kids' parents that are on it, not the kids.
The thing is, it wouldn't be ironic if it was 10 years ago.
Yeah. That's the thing. Yeah. So at the time, a lot of my friends were doing it, and they're like, "That's great." And then like a month later, they're like, "Oh man, I can't do it anymore." Like. everyone I'm meeting are like insane, like so I thought it was pretty funny, and once someone I knew like basically met their husband like that, I was just like, oh god, this is like
Sure.
so.
Hey, well, then again, like everyone, if you find love, however you find love.
I don't know if it was love. I think it was just.
Or just.
I think it was
if
just.
you find horny, if you find horny.
I think it was clock ticking and just like let's get something happening. So
Exactly.
So so and then there's like Night in Rome. I wanted to write an Italo song.
Before I get to that, may I just say something? Because I just said horny, which is something I think only use the word that I only use on the Alex Cameron interview, and we've done a lot.
Horny.
Horny, yeah.
Because Roy's always horny.
Because he's always horny, exactly.
Yeah, Roy's a horn dog.
Not Roy, Alex. Roy, I think is horny about stools. I think, and piano stools and automobiles and cranes, obviously.
Yeah.
You guys should, if you don't know what we're talking about, look him up online.
Yeah.
Marvelous Crane on Instagram. There's a plug. But his reviews are delicious.
Yes.
Delicious.
I wish we could go back to when our passion flowed and sleep every night. We should go take a trip and let the fire inside us reignite.
Get some underline?
Before, I think we do you mind changing the setting for a bit? This is the first time we've ever done this, but I think this warrants a part 2. Yeah. That's what I think that we still have some good stuff to talk about. I know we still have some good stuff to talk about. I think we should go there now. Okay, so next time you see us, we'll be somewhere else. And we just upgraded to a much better setting, as you can tell. But it's part 2, I guess.
Yes.
So there you go. Lisbon is usually like this, but we're I guess upgrading the city for tourists and stuff like that. As I was saying before, before we cut, that the only time I actually use this sort of language, I will swear on the show occasionally, but we aren't sleazy at all on the show, and you aren't sleazy at all, even though the initial approach will seem like you're going to
I'm a really nice guy.
You're exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like that's very wholesome, I would say. It talks about love and touching and stuff like that, but then it's not going to be as or at all as sleazy as you would expect. No. Then it isn't at all. It's barely sleazy.
It's a message of respect and listening and paying attention to it's all that.
The taste of life when I knelt down and asked for your hand. I don't want you to leave me on the coast of Santorini. I just want to make everything alright. You just got to believe me that you and I can work together. Please don't leave me.
It's still about the Don. So that's a rather lovely lake you found in Santorini.
Yes.
We were like, that's classic Greek.
Yeah,
and the cranes as well.
It's the budget city version of Santorini.
Sure.
So it's it just makes Santorini a metaphor. There's Santorinis everywhere. So
Santorini in your heart, then.
Yeah, of course. We all try and save it, but we get left on the island. The sad island.
Okay. Yeah. By the way, is it? Thank you for the Portuguese version of Love Online.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah,
I'm
we appreciate it.
I'm possibly going over to South America later in the year, and
it's the Brazilian version.
Yeah.
I see that you're checking me out, looking for love online, taking a chance and sending me kisses, waiting for my reply.
So you're going to South America.
Possibly, yeah. It's like possibly like a trade mission kind of thing from the Australian government. But I have to wait and see if I get accepted and if the government gives me money. So 'cause it's
Sure.
very expensive to take 5 people to South America.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But it's still it ties in because the Love Online version is Brazilian Portuguese, and we can tell.
Yeah. I can't tell, but yeah, I'll take your word for it.
Sure, exactly.
Love. I love.
You started with as an accordion player, right? So, as an accordion player, do you need 2 brains to play it? And if so, do you have 2 brains, or how many brains do you
I
have?
can only play 2 songs on the accordion.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can play Bésame Mucho, and I saw her standing there by the Beatles.
Really?
And that's it.
Oh.
So I wasn't a very good accordionist.
Okay,
No.
so thank you, Wikipedia, for.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
yeah, if I ever have a gig on accordion, there's 2 songs. Actually,
Okay.
I did play.
That's more than some bands.
I did play some accordion with Jack Latter for we did like some live sessions, and I thought it was pretty hot. So
Playing keyboards proficiently is also like you need kind of like one or two, like 2 brains.
It's all the different buttons. So like, I mean, the one I use is the kids one, which has 3 buttons. Has a root note, a major, and a minor chord, and that's it. Whereas my grandfather was quite a good accordionist, and he had the one with the 5 buttons, and I just couldn't.
You're taking out the glamour of the accordion player.
No, I just couldn't. I couldn't do it. So yeah.
Taking out all the glamour out of the accordion
actually ended
player.
up-
You and Weird Al Yankovic as well, like the major key accordion players.
Yeah. No. No,
It's fantastic though.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. Yeah.
Sure. No, big up to Weird Al Yankovic. Yeah, who am I anymore?
Passion drives this city. So much passion between you and me. I wanna spend the night with you in Rome. And stay out till the morning light grows.
So you did this stint in Las Vegas as well. This is the Wikipedia version, part of the.
That's slightly a metaphor, but I did do a lot of. I did do a lot of.
Likely a metaphor of performing in Las Vegas.
Well, no, I did perform in a lot of hotel lobbies. That I did that for quite a few years. When I saw some of the, this is like the days before. Before you know how now you go to a hotel and you just log on their Wi-Fi and you sit upstairs in your room and look at dirty pictures or something, or get on social media. Back then, this is before all that, so people would be forced to check in and go down to the hotel lobby, to the bar, and have a drink and socialise. And it used to get pretty loose. There'd be some pretty sad stuff I'd see, some pretty funny stuff. So yeah, it was a good way. It put me through college doing all that for years. But there was actually a lot of it gave me inspiration for the earlier stuff as well. Just the pathetic, being the patheticness or pathetic nature of it all.
Sure. Because I was going to say, because I've never been to Las Vegas, but yes, we just figured that out. Because no one seems to ever miss Vegas. That's my point. So maybe even metaphorically, you don't really miss Vegas.
No, it's be the last place in the world I'd want to go. I think. So sorry.
Because it's kind of like soulless, really.
It's kind of like
a husk of yourself.
Well, no, it's like it's like when people go. It's the holidays that terrible travelers go to. Like sorry if I offend anyone from this place, but it's usually people go to Las Vegas or like Hawaii and Disney World. It's like just don't travel. Just stay at home.
It's true.
Don't
It's
just too easy.
It's like watching a comedy that says, "This is fun, laugh."
Well, it's kind of like
yeah,
it's just like people going on holiday. Like you bump into Aussies traveling throughout Europe, and they end up going to like Irish pubs.
They're not Aussies.
Australians,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, yeah.
And they end up hanging
Because
out.
we just saw Aussies not too long ago.
Yeah.
But sure. You want to do Aussie?
Not
Do you
Aussie,
do really?
No. Australia. It's,
Sorry, this is common.
no. It's like, you know, you see that they're in Europe and they're in Irish pubs and you're like, oh come on, like just stay at home.
Yeah, exactly.
don't bother.
What are you doing with your life?
Yeah, so you know, I mean,
It's like traveling and eating at McDonald's or something.
there's nothing more fun than finding somewhere local, and you know, everyone in Europe's like everyone speaks a little bit of English. It's like just you know, then you can learn a little bit as well. It's you have a great time. So that's how I equate those places too. So you know, some people enjoy it. For me, maybe not. So,
About, for instance, older stuff like Don't Hold Back.
Yes.
Is there a time not to hold back? Do you always have to not hold back?
hang on, don't hold back.
It's the time.
Oh, that's the
Church, the Roman Catholic Church is saying it's time.
time. Yeah.
It's probably right.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. You got to hold back on some things, but yeah, you know, in life you shouldn't hold back. I guess that's probably what that song's saying. Just you know, take that adventure, take the plunge.
I was just saying that it's always not always the best advice.
No.
Sometimes you kind of should hold back.
Yeah, it's. I mean, you know, again, like you can take it with a grain of salt. So
Or stinky.
yeah.
Callbacks.
Things hold back on. Yeah.
What about the touch, like the song itself? Like I get it, and you mention it a lot throughout your oeuvre, your œuvre in proper French. But you mention it quite often, not a lot. A lot is negative, negative sounding. But the touch, I get it, but I don't understand how or why money gets involved at some point.
Money.
Yes, because the song says something about money at
Oh,
some
the
point.
rented lover. Yeah, that's in that. That's just about me being available all the time for money.
Okay, you can rent me if you want, if necessary,
the touch
right?
has many facets. The touch is like, you know, you can make a really great red sauce, like just like your Nônô made, and it's got like just the right amount of, and you know, it's like it's got the touch. Or you can, you know, play a really nice synth part or a bass part, and it's like it's got the touch.
It's got the touch.
So, or you know, like you can, you know, lean over your life partner and give her a nice kiss on the side of the neck, and that's
Or
the
on
touch.
the earlobe.
Yeah.
Behind the earlobe.
Yeah, wherever you know, wherever that spot is.
Or like on the eyeball.
Yeah, maybe not the eyeball,
Like,
but
like French kissing the eyeball.
but you know, it's whatever.
French kissing the eyeball is my favorite.
I'll leave that one for you. I guess.
Sure. It's not too popular, but there's a group of us, I think I would say.
I'm going out Friday night to have some fun. Who knows the people I meet before the rise of the sun. I'm wearing my Sunday best to give me the chance of success in the game of love.
Speaking of the touch, fashion tips. Do you have any fashion tips? Do you, or should like, for instance, should you always wear your Sunday best?
Fashion tips. You know what? I need to get some new clothes, so I need some fashion tips myself. I don't know. Fashion tips. I remember reading the Prince, the Last Prince.
Last Prince of Persia.
No, the Last Prince biography.
Oh, biography. Okay.
And Prince was talking about when he was, maybe it was another book, but he was saying when he was quite young, he just starting out, like he'd released his first album, and he was helping a friend move in Minneapolis, like moving house.
I'm sorry, what?
He was helping
a friend move
to move out, yeah. And you know, it's like wearing like removalist clothes and.
Beers. Hello.
Sure.
Hi, Beers.
Hi, viewers.
Thank you.
Yay.
Cheers.
Fabio. Hi. Wait, not with the left one.
Is it bad luck?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not
Depends if you're left-handed.
Yes, indeed true.
Cheers.
Get us a sponsorship, Superbock. Now. Chop chop.
So the story is,
Yes.
he got.
I apologize.
That's all right. He's carrying a couch or something like that.
Yeah.
And these two girls walk past him and goes, "Is that Prince?" And the other guy goes, "No, Prince dresses better than that."
Oh.
And so he's like, "Okay." After that moment, whenever he leaves the house, he has to look like.
Oh,
So
wow.
I haven't quite mastered that yet, but yeah, that's probably the best advice.
Be like Prince.
Be like Prince.
Be more like Prince.
Except for the taking heaps of painkillers.
Sure, and harming yourself really.
And the
in the end.
Jehovah's Witness. Is that what he was? Something like that.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. show is called Made of Things, and it's based on the idea. We've already kind of covered this in a way, but this is based on the idea that you've dedicated yourself to art because you heard something or read something or something happened to you or that made you go like, oh, I want to do that forever. Obviously, you've had musical formation since early, but did you have a moment in which you went oh, I want to do this forever?
Yeah. We used to go watch my dad play. He used to play with he used to play saxophone in a country and western band. He was
Is that Australian country or American country?
Like it was American country, I think. But I just remember being a little kid watching our dad play sax, and it was like, it's pretty cool. It's like, and my two brothers and I were like, I think we want to do that when we get older. And so we're all musicians. So it's sad though because he won't play music with us. He gets too intimidated because we're all trained, and he's like, oh, he's a teacher, but he just every year at Christmas I'm like, hey, get your horn out, Dad. He's like, nah, it's okay. So that moment I remember watching him going, oh.
But did he stop? Did he quit?
I don't know what he did. He didn't do gigs anymore. I think he got sick of. He didn't drink at the time. He was a bit of a teetotaler, as they're called. So,
I hadn't heard that expression.
A teetotaler is like someone that like will have like that much beer and that's it. So.
Oh, okay.
But I think the gigs the gigs he used to play used to get pretty rough. They were like in the country, and so I think he just got the shits with it in the end. So.
Okay.
Yeah, but we did get to play with his band a few times. It was pretty cool when we were kids. So, yeah.
Fantastic.
And to hold back, stay on track. And to hold back, take a check. And to hold back.
Just one last thing. This is kind of stupid, so I've left this.
Okay.
I think that I've left it. I was going to start off with this, but I'm. We don't usually do this, but still, we have. It's not necessarily a gift, but. I think it's if you ever run out of ideas of things to do, you can always go retro and do Donny and the Donettes. I don't know if you've ever seen this.
I've seen
but these aren't very good. But
no.
Donny and the Donettes is an act.
That's good. I think I said, did you read this? My background singers, my backup singers.
Exactly.
Donettes, yeah.
Exactly. Donny and Donettes. I think it's. They're kind of synthetic though.
They don't look very.
They're not very nutritious. I think.
No.
They're not too bad, but they're not necessarily the healthiest food. So.
And Portugal's got so much great food. I don't know why you eat these.
Exactly. You'll be better off with mostly anything else. Yeah.
I proudly disendorse this product.
There you go.
Thank you.
We'll give it somewhere else. There's people that need this, possibly. Cheers, Donny.
Very, very thoughtful. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. This is lovely.
Pleasure.
Lovely having you on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Great.
Thank you so much. I'm Donny Benét. I'll see you real soon. Good night. I love you all.